Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC Time. I'm Dean.
I'm Chris.
Thanks so much for joining us. As you can see, we're in a different setup here. I'm over at Chris's new place here. Beautiful place. Happy to be here with Chris. We just turned the camera on and we're going to share, like we always do, what kind of some things we've been talking about. We're trying to do more of that, to where we just let you in on some of our conversations that we have, and do it that way the best we can. And we found that what may happen is what happened last time. We're just talk for a while and end up making 2 or 3 shows out of one talk.
Out of one sitting,
Yeah, so we may do that. And that might help us in the busyness of what we both have going on all the time. It's hard for us to even
Summer's such a busy time.
get together all the time and continue this, but we want to definitely continue this and appreciate you all out there for sure. All the comments, as always. We got a few things here to talk about from a couple books that I have. Chris has an article here. I'm going to read here from our good buddy Steve Martin. He's got a new book out there. We'll be talking about that. And Chris is going to bring up an article that they're working on. So, what was I going to say starting out, though? There was something I was
Was it
gonna
the bowling
say.
thing?
Oh, yeah. An example, yes, come up. It has to do with some of these past shows that we've been doing. And some of our conversation has been around a little bit of our change of heart, the way we see ourselves, or what we were doing when we first started these shows, and how, we're trying to frame it here in certain beliefs. Is it about you got to believe all the right things and get in the right box?
Yeah.
And that started becoming uncomfortable to us because of many reasons. And so we're not looking to get in, to any kind of camp or groups or anything like that anymore. That's not to say, of course, we're on our journey and we have our beliefs wherever Father has us right now. And or we have our passions, you might say, or Chris might be interested in something and I may be interested in something. Then we'll follow down that trail and learn all these wonderful things. And it's all good news is what we want to talk about and what we want to highlight. So with that said, I had a conversation recently with a family member. It went wonderful. And it was so wonderful to be in this spot. I'm thankful to be in it, where I didn't feel a need to say anything or to present something in this attempt to change somebody, or in this attempt to get somebody into my box, my little world or whatever.
Right.
And of course, when you get there, when people's there, or when you're in that mindset, people they know that right away. And this person said that. Said, so you're not trying to change anybody, or you're not trying to, I'm like, no, not anymore.
Yeah.
It's so good to get out of that. Now that does sound funny because we want to encourage, and you naturally in us, we're always going to want to do something to be the help. So that's the bowling example. Something come up. Chris and I's on a bowling team. And we get to know a lot of people, and somebody was asking me, giving me a hard time about bowling and all these things, but then ask a little advice. I gave a little tip, to this person. A couple weeks go by, this person got back to me and said, hey, I used that tip. They had their best series that they'd ever had.
Yeah.
And it was just something new for them to think about now, and now they're on this journey of learning this.
Yeah.
And they'll one day show me and give me a tip back.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to say that, to where, of course, we're always would look and long to do things like that. But we're doing it in a way around these matters, just trying to share, here's where we're at, or here's something neat that we think that Father's showing us. If it can help, great. If not, that's okay.
That's okay too. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if you completely disagree or think we're nuts about things. Like I said, some of the things, I don't want to talk like that, but some of these things we read in Scripture from the Apostle Paul, it's out there. Because he's talking about other worlds in the celestial realm.
Yeah.
He's talking about things that we can't yet see. That's all in Scripture.
Yeah.
So it gets out there. So we understand that.
Yeah. It is we've said there's stuff we read and stuff we have looked at words and we go, I just can't share this with just anybody. You and I, that's been one of the really good things that we get out of this getting together is that, we have a relationship where I can read something and say, is this what it could be saying? I don't worry about what Dean's response is going to be or whatever, But some of the things that I now believe, they would not be well received by just anybody. They would be difficult for them.
And why would that surprise us? Like you said earlier, we were talking, but our minds don't go there. Sometimes we don't.
Well,
we're not able to see that somebody could be in a different place, or we're not able to see that, man, just by saying that this could be the greatest thing to us.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
But in sharing that, we're not able to see that, man, we're sharing something outside of their framework.
It's just that deep, and I'm not maybe the best at explaining why I think this might really be a significant truth. But I'm not quite there in a way to really. And then there's the other, just plain out vanity of somebody. They're going to look at me like I've lost my marbles,
right?
And then you don't want to be looked at. Oh, he believes yada yada. So there's all those reasons that and I usually will. That's okay. I understand that what I'm saying, could be a struggle or a reach. And I get that, and I'm okay that it's not something you can accept right now, or maybe whatever accept. I'm okay with it.
I'm wondering how much that I really am, or was, or in my. I mean, I've changed, but I think that was that was probably something in me that didn't sit well. I wasn't okay with those things.
Yeah, there was.
I think
earlier.
Still probably there's something in me that, without realizing it, you need that, or you're seeking out that confirmation or something like that. But man, it's beautiful to get. Yeah, I hope to keep progressing to that spot, or that comforting spot of, we're not looking for that at all.
Yeah. I wrote an author one day. He had, maybe it was an email goodie or something, and I read an article in the BSN. I don't know, and I think his name was Danny Rusino or something like that.
Yep.
And or something. I was really appreciated the article. Thought it was really good. Ordered one of his books. Somewhere I came across his email. It might have been in the book cover or something. And so I just shot him a real quick word of encouragement, how much I appreciated, something that I'd read from this book or whatever. And within a few days, he replied, and he was very grateful. And then he said, but I have to confess to you that the book you're talking about, while I think there is some really good stuff in there were a few things in there that I recorded at that time. And I would have to say, I've altered, Well, you know what? That was, for me, I was like, no kidding.
Yeah.
I get that. I have seen that my own experience, and I just shared with you a story about a sister-in-law. And in that moment, I was offended by her response to me. Today, I look at it and go, well, of course she responded like that. Because I was really coming after her and everything she stood for and everything she believed. And I just flat out scared her. That's all I did. I scared her.
As humans, I think we are.
And
we live in that fear without knowing there's so much fear everywhere.
Yeah. And his sharing back with me that, hey, there's stuff there that I wouldn't say that today, And I can remember saying, I found the very same thing to be true in my journey. And that's okay. And it was liberating just to have him share that back with me. That, that is a part of this journey. We believe things, Then some things happen and it alters a little bit, and all of that is intentional and purposeful. And I think one of the purposes is to make us to be that compassionate, empathetic, listening to a person's understanding things in that moment where they are. I said, I recently did a show with Steve Martin. Steve Martin reached out to me. He's a grandfather. I'm a grandfather. We had talked about it before, and he asked about maybe sitting down and doing a show. I don't know when it's coming out, but it'll come out on Biblical Resources at some point. And we did that show this past week. And we talked about how it is to grandfather with all of these things we realize, and at the same time not step on your own kids' toes about where they are in their journey, and that's a little bit of a tightrope there, and Steve and I had agreement on how we would handle that, but it could be tricky, depending on as the grandchild gets older and then their questions get a little more in depth or whatever, how much are you comfortable with sharing if it flies in the face of what the parents may think. So we discuss a little bit about those things, and it's very, very similar to what we're talking about. For me, I know that I have had more peace with it when I began pushing the boundaries of what God's sovereignty means. When I started pushing that out, when you start talking about how far is the east from the west, those, it's limitless, the sovereignty messages. That has been this very freeing message for me. So free that, the mistakes that I was so afraid of, I don't have fear in now.
That's awesome. Let me read a quote from Steve on that topic right there. It's from Steve Martin's new book, Living Free. He's out there now. And it's a quote by him. And here it says, by embracing the truth of God's sovereignty and grace, we can find freedom. It's what Chris just said. So it's awesome. Yeah. Not only from sin, but from the burdens of guilt, shame, and self-effort. In this freedom, we can rest, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, according to His perfect plan. Even when life gets hard, you can know that God is behind it all, working it all out for good. That doesn't mean it's easy, but you can rest in the peace that comes from knowing He's in control. Mm-hmm. And those seem like simple words at times. We grew up hearing those words. People will say those words, but when it really sinks in, when you really take hold of some of the scripture verses that's all through that quote there, it can bring peace and freedom. Yeah. The Father's in control. So even when things are chaotic and hectic and this evil hits us and we don't even know how to handle it here at times. We don't have what it takes within us, to handle that. Those are the times that, something will wash over you and give you a little peace, and you know that it's not the end. It's not over. There's a sequel, it's coming. This is just a step along the way.
Right, exactly.